Welcome back to The Endless Stream. This is episode 23 and I'm Aidan. As usual, I'm joined by Kevin and Brian. Each week we take some of the endless stream of content brought to you by Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney+, Hulu, Spotify, YouTube. Wherever you get your content, we're going to watch a chunk of it and we're going to talk about it. This week we are looking at What If, episode 2. We're looking at the Amazon Prime film I'm Your Woman, as well as talking about sitcoms from the 90s and all of the trailers that have come out this week. Given the nature of these conversations, they are very spoiler heavy, so if you haven't watched any of these things, maybe go off and give them a look and then come back to us. During the course of this episode, Brian will try and convince you that spoilers are irrelevant. You'll enjoy the thing regardless. If you like what you hear, please consider subscribing to the podcast or heading over to Instagram where you can follow us and see clips from the show and artwork we do to go inside with each episode. We are at The Endless Cast, and if you want to send us an email and get in touch, suggest something we should watch or voice a second opinion, you can reach out to us at theendlesscast@gmail.com. Once again, I'd like to remind everybody that we are running a competition at the moment. When we reach 150 followers, we will choose a follower at random, and we will do an illustration, black and white ink illustration of a character of your choice. So yeah, head over to Instagram, check out some of the artwork, give us a follow, tell a friend, spread the word of The Endless Stream. All of that being said, let's jump into the episode. How to start this week?
I know how to start.
Go on.
Now, this went horribly wrong the last time I tried to do it, so I'm gonna preference this with some background details.
Okay.
In England, there was he's a famous comedian who has been on many shows and has worked with many other famous comedians like Jimmy Carr and I don't know any other famous British comedians. Probably Ricky Gervais. I don't like that other guy. He's obnoxious. I don't know his name. Frankie something. But his name is Sean Locke. He's a famous British comedian. You may have heard of him. He has passed away.
Okay.
58.
Did that go better than the last time you tried it?
Una Stubbs. You didn't know who Una Stubbs was?
Ah, yes, I suppose that's fair. I wasn't sure what the previous time you were referring to was.
I tried to start with a background this time. Famous British comedian. Worked the likes of Jimmy Carr. On 8 out of 10 Cats and other panel shows. Has passed away. Which is very sad. Poor Sean Locke. I watched this, a bit of it. I caught a bit of a special during the week on Channel 4 and an episode of 8 out of 10 Cats. And God bless him, it's sad.
Yeah, I'm not overly familiar with the man's stand-up. I've seen him on panel shows for a decade or longer.
Yeah,
it's a funny thing about.
The same.
It's a funny thing about comedians and stuff. Often I do find them as people funnier than I find their acts on stage. You know, like I'm happier seeing them in a conversation or in a show like that. Even though I know there's a lot of written content, I know there's a lot of written content. Yeah,
panel shows are scripted.
Brian,
they're all scripted.
Brian, I literally just we were watching 8 out of 10 Cats with Emer, and I was laughing at something really hard, and then I got sad because I remember that Brian just always tells me how panel shows are scripted, and I said it to Emer. He's like, "Do you know all panel shows are scripted?" And she was like, "Arden." And I was like, "Yeah, Brian told me that." And it makes me sad every time I watch panel shows now because they're so heavy scripted once someone tells you. Yeah, but I do love them. I do think they're funny. Yeah, I would have, but
I can't watch them. Yeah. I can't do it. It's just trying to pass it off like this, natural witty on the, off the cuff kind of. And I
don't say that.
Can't stand it.
Don't say that. It was real to me. It was real. It was real to me.
Don't say that.
Do you not think? I'd like to think Mark Lamar, 90s. Never mind the Buzzcocks. Real.
There are definitely moments in it that are.
Yeah. I mean, you still got a show full of comedians.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And there are moments like there's a clip going around of Sean Locke, and like I love 8 out of 10 Cats as Countdown, but over the period of time that it's gone on, I get more and more kind of frustrated with how much of the lead in is like there's 20 minutes of them just introducing each other and doing shtick, but there's a clip going around of him going, he won Rectum of the Year, not Rear of the Year, Rectum of the Year. It's so funny, and everyone around them, like whether or not it's a bit from his act, whether or not whatever, the fact that the people on the panel are dying, that's real. Like I don't you change your face, Brian. There's polite laughter that happens in these shows, for sure, absolutely. But by the time somebody's fucking crying, like, yeah, there's some reality there. I have to believe.
Yeah.
Well, we can
Sean
definitely
Locke
believe-
wrote some stuff for Bill Bailey. He wrote 15 Stories High, that show as well. Like he was a comedy writer as well that like fed a lot of material to people. He was great, and his death was a big surprise. I think I was kind of like, oh God, like it's just he's somebody that I was like, you never consider that person dying. You think that person's safe for at least another 40 years, and there wasn't even a like note of like
a murmur.
He's ill or anything, you know.
Well, I think he had skin cancer before. Did I read that somewhere? He had skin cancer before or something. He worked on building sites, and he got
the
it
suggestion.
from that. But I think he died of lung cancer. But I was just going to say, is like I wouldn't have been like the biggest fan of Sean Locke, and like you, Aidan, I probably would haven't seen a full stand up. I may have, I may not. I wouldn't have, but I wouldn't even remember if I did or not. But just like an absolute staple on British TV panel shows and all that kind of stuff, and I always found him very, very funny. Like I do that little fella, Joel something. He's very funny. His whole stick is that he's small and timid and polite, and he's intelligent. He was on a
Joe
panel.
Dommett?
I don't know. He was. I saw Milk a Man the other day on Channel 4. Like 8 out of 10 cats. It's a bit.
I have no idea what's going on.
He milked Sean Bean. He milked Yakult from his others.
Was this a fever dream or
No, I
what's
watched.
going
It was on TV. Anyways, I don't know why you guys are looking weird at me. But yeah, I don't know. Not like as in like he was just one of those guys, wasn't he? Just a face on TV that like you kind of just like you grew up watching, and it's very sad that he's passed away. He had a good career. He's a funny guy.
Yeah. There's people who when those shows start, I go, oh, I'm going to watch this one, and he was one of those guys. You know, there's ones where the guest comes on, and I'm like, oh, yeah, no, not so sure. Yeah, it was sad. R.I.P. to Sean Locke.
Is Frankie Boyle still alive? Is that kind of?
He is.
I
Can't speak to all the ins and outs of this, but it feels like Frankie Boyle kind of had a bit of a schism with the BBC, withdrew, did a lot of like regional, but he did a lot more like live shows, writing books, doing stuff sort of quasi-independently, or at least with the sort of Scottish end of things, and has kind of come back with his own strength behind him rather than being a part of Mock the Week, you know.
But like, you know, I'm all for like kind of dark humor and all that kind of stuff, but sometimes there's a line, don't be a cunt, and Frankie Boyle says some stuff that's just really cunty.
Yes.
Anyways, two greats in as many as a week. Una Stubbs and Sean Locke.
So let's move briskly on. I always try to start each podcast with a "they will be missed" moment.
Do you?
No, it kind of ruins the mood for the rest of the episode if we start with death, doesn't it?
Yeah, nice one, Kevin.
No, we'll just cut this down and put it at the bottom of the episode. And then when
Okay.
at the bottom of the episode where I say, I know how to start it, people will be really confused.
There's a new Eternals trailer.
I liked it.
I don't look like it looks like it's funny because it's like the first Eternal movie we're seeing, and for me, I kind of it looks as epic as Endgame or something. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not even familiar with the characters by and large. You know, but it just looks quite epic. Looking forward to seeing more of some of the characters for sure. Angelina Jolie's character and her powers look amazing. Looking forward to seeing what to do with Kit Harington as the Black Knight and stuff. And then it's Icarus, the guy with the laser eyes. I assume it's Icarus, yeah. But lots of laser eyes going on. But you know what? Cool.
Yeah, I saw some of the like Twitter backlash of like they're ripping off the Snyderverse with the guy with the flying with the fiery eyes, and it's like he's got the same power set mostly, and it's like, okay, you're just gonna have similarities because how else can you represent flying and fiery eyes?
But sure, like
screen.
Cyclops, they literally made Cyclops' whole power just fire out of his eyes.
But I like once people started saying he looked a little like a kind of Superman thing, I suddenly went, oh cool, actually I really like the idea that now we have a Marvel Universe Superman character, at least in terms of power set. Like we'll have to see how he's played in terms of like temperament and value system.
I didn't like the design of the main deviant.
Oh, did you not?
No. Looks underdeveloped, kind of unoriginal, not interesting.
Little flat plasticky face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He looked like
Looked
a Bionicle.
Yeah, kind of like a bionic,
Yeah.
a little like a bionicle, and something like reminded me of Alan Tudyk in iRobot.
I was just about to say that.
You know?
I was like, I'm gonna say iRobot, but let's just see if he says it. Yeah, it's that very sort of just
Yeah.
like kind of
iRobot.
detached, basic
Just-
face.
Kind of crap. Yeah.
I like the proportions on it. One of the characters, I don't know if it's the main villain. I think it might be, but I like the kind of like the proportions on the character. But that was like I saw a still taken from the trailer. I don't know if it was actually him or not. I think they were very red looking, but anyways, it's cool looking.
Do you mean the big Eternal?
Celestial?
No,
Or Celestial, sorry.
no. I know the Celestials, the big old Celestials and stuff. No, I'm pretty sure this is a bad guy.
If you're talking about the one where they're there's like a
In the cave,
display
holding.
in
Yes.
the middle. Yeah, I think that might just be a Celestial, possibly.
Oh, okay.
But I might be wrong. It could also be a deviant. I'm not sure. But
I thought it was just kind of like a little like hollow display of their celestial master.
I think I know what that scene is, so it might also be a deviant. But I don't know if it's going into spoilers. It's actually no, it's not because it's from the books.
Yeah, we're all in supposition mode.
Yeah,
We're doing lots of
so-
suppositing.
I mean, like I know the plot of the film because I read the leak. So,
Oh, I don't
Well,
say anything.
don't
Brian.
do that. Don't do that. Yeah.
but no,
Why
but
would you-
it's
why
but
would you do that?
Brian, why do you do this to yourself?
Why do you do that to yourself? Now you know the movie.
I wanted to see if it was real.
Brian,
And
that's
still, it's still look. Spoilers are bullshit. Look. Don't spoil Fight Club. Don't spoil Empire Strikes Back or whatever. But by and large, spoilers don't really spoil your enjoyment of a film.
don't spoil Who Framed
Says
Roger
you.
Rabbit.
No, it's proven
No, it isn't.
scientifically.
Brian,
Spoilers don't really change your enjoyment of a film, with the exception, like I said, of a big twist like your Fight Club or your Empire Strike Back. But
Who hurt you?
spoilers? It's true.
Who hurt you?
I know what happens in the film.
It's not
and
your fault.
I feel no less excited about seeing the film.
It's not your fault.
That's fine. But if somebody says that they don't want to know it and you tell them, that causes them some form of displeasure.
Oh, you mean like how you ruined Get Out for me?
Who ruined Get Out for you,
I
Brian?
don't- Who ruined
This
Get Out
guy.
for you? How did I ruin Get
Yeah,
Out?
you did.
Rude.
You told me the end of it before I'd seen it.
Well, you don't care about spoilers.
Oh, God.
Yeah, but what did you just
I
say?
don't remember. I don't remember.
What did you just say?
I said you don't care about spoilers.
No, before that, what did you just say?
I don't know. I don't even remember
You
the
said
end of
if
the movie.
somebody doesn't want to know a movie. don't-
Yeah, I know.
that's not spoiled.
And I generally don't tell people spoilers to things if I
And
know that
neither
they
do
haven't
I.
seen it or whatever.
And neither do I. So I resent your implication that I would do that when somebody doesn't want to know the end of a movie, because I never said I would tell someone the end of the movie just because I know.
Sure, okay, but this isn't worth it. Anyway, moving on.
I'm pretty
No,
good at
No.
I'm-
Let's sit in the awkwardness for a moment because you went there.
What I said that you said that spoilers
Anyway,
don't ruin a film for people.
I think I
and
know what
said
that
some people
scene
don't want
is.
spoilers.
I think that scene is probably where they're getting briefed
Yeah.
by the Celestials as to their purpose.
It looks like that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's not a spoiler, that's from the books.
Yeah.
Sure.
I've seen many films where holograms are projected in the middle of a room surrounded by people. That's some sort of debriefing, and I figured that must be what it is.
Yeah. So it's either a Celestial or a Deviant. But either way, I don't like the Deviant design.
Yeah.
Kind of blah.
Yeah. I'd love to. I guess it's worth looking back at the Kirby stuff and seeing what the deviant designs actually looked like.
Probably don't.
Not like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a feeling
look
these look
like-
more like the John Romita Jr. stuff.
I do like the trailer though, and I think I'm looking forward to it. But
Yeah.
I don't like that.
I still can't tell the Game of Thrones boys apart, and putting them in tight jeans and half-length leather jackets. Both, I'm still looking at them going, okay, one of them's got grey hair. Which one is the?
That'd be your face blindness.
It's a real problem. I was thinking about this earlier and was just like, when you stick them in the same costumes in the Marvel thing, like I can't tell them apart. And then I went, oh, I couldn't do it in Game of Thrones either. But then I guess they're kind of wearing the same shit in Game of Thrones as well, just like black medieval stuff. And
To be honest, I for half of Game of Thrones, I don't know who was who, where they were going, names of names. People be like telling me stuff about Game of Thrones, like which one's that? Show me a picture. Oh yeah. But like, my God,
They don't look that alike, though.
They don't. 100% they don't.
No, I can tell
get
the difference of those guys. I'm just saying in Game of Thrones, I would have struggled with that.
I understand entirely that they do not look that alike. But it's just like when I'm watching that trailer cutting from one shot to the next and it's like just a shape. You know, sometimes where it's
weirdly enough, though, he does look like Sebastian Stan. Is the weird thing.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
The Black Knight.
No.
Which one looks like Sebastian Stan?
Robert Stark.
What's his name?
Icarus.
I'm blanking on his name.
What's his name?
Stephen.
No.
Jon Snow?
No, that's Kit Harington.
Why am I blanking on his name?
He was in The Bodyguard, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He was also
Did he have that accent in Game of Thrones?
No, I don't think so.
But he has it in Eternals.
I think he's Scottish. I think he actually is Scottish, so that's where...
Okay. But he like
Richard Madden.
softened that... Fuck off. That's his name. I've never heard that name ever.
Don't know why you told me to fuck off. It's not my problem.
That's not his name.
Yes.
Richard Madden looks like Sebastian Stan.
Is that his name?
Yeah, what's wrong with his name? Dick Madden.
Dick Mad.
Brian, you kind of robbed my joke there, but you did it better than me. I hate you. That's the story of my life, really. But maybe I should be a comedy writer. Kind of.
But how do I get through 10 years of Game of Thrones?
Because he wasn't in 10 years ago.
Well,
he was
that's
in like
true, but
3 years, maybe.
But how do I get through all of that and still get confronted with his name and go, I have never heard that fucking name?
That's your name blindness also kicking in.
But it's like the guy in Ant-Man who is married to Ant-Man's ex-wife. He's in lots of things. He's had even his own TV shows and different things like that. His name is Danny Calabero or something.
Bobby Cannavale.
Cannavale, yeah. He's great.
He's great. But I'm more familiar with him than I am Rich Madden. I wouldn't know his name. And he's been brilliant in everything.
He has. He pops up in so much stuff. And like a wide range of things. He's in The Irishman.
Oh, he's so good.
Station Agent. That's the first time I saw him. He's excellent.
I have a feeling he pops up in like Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yeah, he was in one of those shows. I think he was a cop in one of the sitcoms. Maybe not Everybody Loves Raymond. Could have been King of Queens or something. I don't know. Maybe he was in King of Queens.
Anyway,
I know. Anyways, he's cool.
Can I want to feel out a potential spoiler? But I think it's for Eternals.
Dude, you told us you just read the whole synopsis. So how can you tell us a potential spoiler without saying it's just an actual spoiler?
No, I want to feel out telling you a potential spoiler.
Have you read the Neil Gaiman, John Romita Jr. run, Kevin?
Brian, that was a question directed towards me.
Sorry about that.
Brian,
sorry.
Brian, can I finish?
Aidan, if you could say the name at the top of the question first.
Yes, actually.
This is to the Athlone delegate. If you could please inform us as to whether or not you have read
that means you,
the run of the Eternals as written by Neil Gaiman and illustrated by John Romita Jr., son of the great John Romita.
I plead the fifth.
If I could just say one thing.
Kevin yields his time back to the floor. Brian, rebuttal?
Potential. Well, not really a spoiler.
Just say it. We'll cut it if need be.
Well, I don't know if you necessarily want to hear it either, but I think it's one of those ones that an audience would be better off knowing ahead of seeing something.
Wait, that's a very confusing question. The audience is better off knowing
Kevin,
what you're going to say.
take your earphones out.
Audience...
Take your earphones out until I wave. Brian, say it.
Yeah.
Take your earphones out until I wave.
Are you sure, Aidan?
Yeah, go.
Okay, you sure?
You have my consent. Give it to me.
Don't expect a lot of Black Knight. It's just introducing him as Dane Watson. He does not become Black Knight in the film.
Cool. Yeah, I kind of figured as much because we haven't seen a costume or anything at this point. Going to bring him back.
But I think a lot of people are expecting that, and I think they'd be disappointed to find. Yeah,
I think you'd be okay to hear this, Kevin. it's not. I'm gonna
I
couch
trust
it a
Aidan.
little differently. I'm
Trust
going to couch
both
it
of
a
you,
little
but-
differently. Brian is suggesting that we should not be too overly. We shouldn't expect anticipatory. Yes, of much Black Knight action. We've got the character in it, but we don't know that we're going to see him suit up or anything. You know.
Okay,
Just be around.
that's fair enough.
In the same way that we've seen, you know, what's her name, Hellcat and stuff. Like we've seen people in series before, and we're like, well, that's definitely someone they can do something with that if they want to.
I loved Trisha in Jessica Jones. I thought she was awesome. I didn't watch season 2 because I think maybe Brian warned me that it's not so good or something, or she wasn't that good or something. I can't remember. But I really,
Season 2?
really, I can't remember if it's season 2 or 3. Was it
There's
season
just
3
more
of
of
Jessica
it.
Jones?
3. We didn't watch season 3. I need to
didn't
watch
it yet.
season 3 of Jessica Jones. Should we watch that?
I'm fully vaccinated now, so you can come over and we can binge it. When you're ready.
I'm like 18-hour coverage from my father. 18 hours a day. I can't go anywhere.
Okay, I'll come over to you.
The three of you can watch season 3.
Yeah, I'm only joking. I know, I understand the situation. Yeah, I
Yeah.
just want to see you guys in real life.
Yeah.
Oh, Brian, you were house sitting this weekend.
I am.
You are. Oh, how, yeah. So you just come over to yours now, and then you're gonna go back, is it?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
okay. So you can cut that from the podcast. Obviously, we don't need to know that. But you were house sitting this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
How's that going?
Spooky. Spooky times.
Why? Whose spooky house are you sitting in?
Well, the house isn't spooky, but I had a spooky night.
I got messages at 4 a.m.
Tell us
witching
about
hour.
your spooky night.
Spooky night.
I was asleep.
Kit Harington being all spooky.
Ooh, I'd like that.
I went to bed, I think, at around between 1 and 2. I'm not sure. And it was 3 o'clock before I kind of went to sleep. And I was awoken at around sometime after 4. So I'm dog sitting for my brother, and I brought my dog over. His 2 dogs are downstairs, and I brought my dog upstairs with me. So Marla is in the room with me. His 2 dogs are downstairs, and Marla wakes me, and I hear a lot of noise, and it seems like it's coming from the attic. And I'm like, maybe it's, I don't know, could be, wasn't sure if it was raining or not, but I thought maybe if it's kind of raining heavily, maybe it's kind of hitting something somewhere on the roof, and it's kind of reverberating in a particular way. And I was like, I'm sure it's nothing. I'm sure it's just house noises. Try to go back to sleep. And it was happening a lot. A lot of noise. And I thought maybe it's the neighbors, maybe they're doing something, and the way the houses are connected, maybe it's making some noise. But it sounded like it was coming from the attic, and it sounded like a lot of activity. And I was like, I'm sure it's fine. Kind of thought nothing of it. Every time I started to drift off, there's like a lot of noise. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Marla is now sitting up and she's staring at the door, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? She's stressing out. So I'm starting to get a little nervous at this time, and I don't know what it is. Try to ignore it. Try to go back to sleep, and then I hear one of his dogs crying, and it's kind of weird. It's like, why is his dog crying? What's going on? Why is the dog crying? And it's like, I'm sure she's fine. It's like, I don't know why she's crying, but again, I try to ignore it, but eventually she's crying a lot. So like, I better go up and check. And the second I open the door to the bedroom, one of his dogs from downstairs bolts into the room and hides around the corner. And I'm like, what is happening? So it's around 4:30 now, and his dog is freaking out, and Marla is kind of very alert, and she's like sniffing around the place and walking around. So I get up and I kind of check the rooms with my phone, and I go into one of the rooms. There's a bokken in there. So I pick that up and I start kind of, searching room by room with the flashlight on my phone.
For those at home who do not know what a bokken is, care to elaborate? Because I had to Google it.
Sorry.
I googled it this morning. It's not the nicest thing for your girlfriend to wake up to.
You googling your bucking?
Yeah, why are you googling Bockums? It's too early.
You ruined my joke.
God, oh, sorry, Brian. Sorry, you could edit it. Go on.
It's kendo sword, practice sword. So a heavy wooden sword. So I picked that up and I'm walking around, checking room by room. I can't see anything going on, but went downstairs. His dog is hiding upstairs. Marla's kind of following me around, but she's kind of cautious. I had no idea what was going on. I checked the rooms and Marla eventually went back upstairs by herself and she started checking out the rest of the rooms as well. And I don't know what it was. It was very strange, but I did not go back to sleep.
Oh, really?
It was weird. Yeah, it was. Every time I started to doze off, there was like loud noise. I don't know what it was. So I texted Kev because I was fully sure I was going to die. It's like, if anybody wonders what happened to me, there'll be a text message, explaining that I was experiencing some spooky stuff.
And I was asleep. But
People in your neighborhood that you could have texted. You texted Kevin.
yeah, but I'd be the only one that would believe him and do something about it.
It wasn't so much for help. I just expected I was going to be dead.
Oh.
So it wasn't so much for help. It was just that if people were saying, "Hey, what happened?" there would be a text saying,
Yeah, but
spooky stuff.
I'd be the only one willing to transverse the planes of existence and try and find Brian's damn soul somewhere out there.
Which is to say, he'd say a few Hail Marys.
Yeah, I'd do it, and I'd be like,
Say a deck of the Rosary for you.
yeah, no, yes, and I'd also be like doing spooky stuff to find him.
You'd be doing spooky stuff
I'd be doing spooky stuff to find him.
with your bucking in your hand.
Yep.
So that's the Eternals. We're getting close now.
Last thing on the internals. Well, last thing for me.
Did you
Until I can get
text?
something
Did
else to
you
say on
text your
Eternals.
brother and ask?
I did, because sorry, that's the other thing. I don't think he's got an attic.
Yeah.
So,
What?
yeah, I don't know.
So they're just pigeons
When
on the roof.
But like at 4 a.m.
Yeah, like a lot of noise.
And like,
So much so that it was freaking the dogs out.
yeah, but the fact that Marla was going in and out of rooms herself, scoping them out, is pretty freaking terrifying.
Yeah.
But you're lucky you had, like, obviously you had all the dogs there, and they're all like, great dogs. But you're lucky you have Marla there, because Marla, I think, would eat the face off of anybody who kind of, I think, coughed at in your direction. So
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's what kind of. That's why I went from kind of going, it's just, some kind of noise to kind of going, all right, Marla is now curious. So
It's funny.
I should be curious.
We've all seen enough movies as well where we see somebody like dismiss the dog being anxious, and then a werewolf shows up or something. You know what I mean?
yeah, and also not to say that Marla is a particularly aggressive dog. I'm just not sure Marla knows where she ends and Brian starts. She's very bonded and connected to him that I think she wouldn't be able to see outside of.
So are you
Something
staying
happened
there
there.
again tonight?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I wish I could go there. Sorry, I can't. You don't need 4 dogs in the house freaking us out. I'd love that.
So back on the Eternals,
Yes, sorry.
if anybody watches, I've seen a lot of videos discussing the trailer, and I've seen a lot of articles discussing the trailer and stuff. There's a lot of people that have clearly read the leak but are passing off
Oh, bullshit.
leaks as their theories. Yeah.
That's not
they're
nice.
like, I think this, and it's like, you fucking read the post. You read the same post I did. Stop trying to. Yeah. So take care if you kind of consume any of that stuff, because people are leaking stuff but trying to pass it off as a theory.
Okay. I don't. So that's fair enough. Anybody who's listening, anybody who is listening to this and will talk to me in person, you know me well enough not to be spouting theories at me and trying to pass this stuff off as your own, because I will not stand for it. Well, what Eternals should people read if they want to read Eternals before the movie comes out?
Gaiman's run.
Yeah,
Gaiman's
Neil
one, yeah.
Gaiman's one. It's the most
That's it.
straightforward. It's nice looking. It's pretty engaging. Like the older stuff is a bit I don't know, it's a bit chaotic. Like, people talked about what Kirby did when he was given free reign as, like, he just threw everything he had. And this is not to be, in any way taken as a negative, I suppose. But he just threw everything he had into every page and every story. And it didn't entirely connect with the sales base at the time. But as people have sort of pointed out, that, like, what? The way
Didn't connect with the sales base.
Did I phrase that wrong?
No, it's just an interesting way of saying it.
Well,
it was unpopular and flopped.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say that, like, I haven't read or haven't that Stanley.
You might also say that it's bad,
But the end of that sentence is that, coupled with his reputation as Kirby King of Comics and what he created, creators have been going back to the well of stuff he put in those issues for a long time and pulling stuff out and, giving it a little room to breathe on its own. And, it's been a sort of good little repository of stuff to build on.
Yes, yes. Fair.
So there's gold in there. It's just
buried.
It's just a bit chaotic to try and wade through yourself.
Yeah, because like I said, I was reading that Stan Lee book, and it's kind of a case of
flopped and was bad. The Aidan O'Sullivan story.
But
this
yeah,
never
it's
happens
like,
to me.
It's like it's all right if it does anything, because now Viagra is over the counter.
Oh, cool.
You don't need prescriptions for it anymore. Jack Kirby needed Stan Lee to a degree, or as a writer or a more stringent editor, because he did have a tendency, if you gave him free reign, to get a little bit like boinky with this stuff. And it's just like, that's why I always feel like Stan Lee and Jack Kirby just were a good team. Whatever side of the fence you're on, but who's credit for what? It's like, personally, I just it's just like Stan Lee and Kirby are marvelous to me anyways, at the end of the day. And I'll have to get a Jack Kirby tattoo at some stage.
Oh, you don't have... you've got
Stan
Stan
Lee
on one leg, right?
Yeah, but I feel bad not having poor old Jack.
Do you have a space on the opposite leg to have Jack?
Yeah.
Could you do like a symmetrical?
No, I don't want to do that.
Could you put it in such a way that you could make him kiss?
I could make
on the
it
back
really
of your butt cheek.
I could make it real small. Jack Kirby standing on top of Stanley's head, kissing the ground, but that looks a little bit.
No,
grovelly.
like I want two separate body parts.
Yeah, you're gonna want to put
And
it to
then
like
for
the
you
back
to
of
make
your
them touch so
hamstring,
they
maybe,
could
or
kiss
on your
them.
butt, so that when you sit down, their faces meet.
Or if one face was like on your thigh and the other was on your calf, so that when you bent your legs and they come together, that their mouths would be kissing.
I could just do little portraits on this part of my hand, and then they go.
They can also be headbutting. It doesn't have to be romantic.
Anyways, yeah.
Send suggestions to us for what tattoos you want Kev to get and wear on his body part, and what you would like them to be doing to each other.
Where are my body parts?
That's up to the listeners.
Oh,
Aiden put the poll on the...
You can send tattoo suggestions to theendlessstream@gmail.com.
theendlessstream@gmail.com.
And you can follow us over at The Endless Cast on Instagram or TikTok.
Do we have content on TikTok?
Some.
See, you're on TikTok.
Sort of.
Seeing your face on it.
Shifting this conversation slightly, but also staying in the Marvel world. A couple of promo clips for Shang-Chi this week. Are they doing a lot of that, or is it just me?
That's the usual amount.
It's the usual amount?
I read that they were accused of not promoting this movie enough because it was basically, I read an article that said Disney where somebody essentially had accused Disney of not promoting the movie enough because on the basis of it being a more of an Asian. But I think that's so. Okay, I'm not saying that's not true. It could very well be true. However, I just think like nobody in the right mind would put this much money into a movie and then not promote it. Like, what's the purpose of it?
The comparative thing is the drive and the hype that built up around Black Panther and the sort of the whole like cultural embrace that movie received. But I don't know how much of that was, the mechanism of Hollywood making that happen versus how much of it was, just people embraced that character and were happy to see it. And to be fair, the Black Panther had a little more of a lead-in coming in from Civil War. People were hyped to see this character. Nobody's seen Shang-Chi before.
And like kind of even like kind of say like before Civil War and all that kind of stuff. I had a massive poster of John Romita Jr.'s Black Panther run from like, oh my god, I don't know, 2000 and bloody maybe 3 or 4 or 5, I can't remember. But I had a massive John Romita poster in my room, like a character I was super familiar with. They had animated that series, I think, for BET at one stage and stuff, and I'd watched it. Like kind of Black Panther had a massive following, where Shang-Chi is a bit more unknown to the general masses, you know.
Yeah.
So
and like I don't. Maybe I'm off base in suggesting this, but like I don't think that there's a big Asian following for Shang-Chi in the same way that there's a big, you know, African American following for the Black Panther. Am I way off base on that, or?
I don't know. I couldn't comment. I not in a bad way. I don't know. But I think it's you know. I mean,
I'm really looking forward to it. That bus fight scene looked cool now, and like I said to you, Brian, that like it looks like they've either polished the effects on it or something. But there's like this little snap kick he does in both directions towards the end of the fight. And first trailer we saw that looked very floaty, and it looks like they've done. He just kind of went up and then came down, and you just sort of had enough time to sort of read the legs close, and it's like that needs to be quicker, and it looks quicker now. So somebody did a second pass on.
I think
ramping the speed on that fight.
I think if you think about the future, the MCU and stuff, and like Anthony Mackie signed on to do Captain America 4, which is like crazy exciting. I watched his performance in a TV show called Solace, I think it is, or Solos, and
Solos.
I just think Andy Mackie is such an underrated actor to a degree. Obviously he's not, because he has these huge roles, but like they don't dismiss him for just being a Captain America or Falcon guy. He can act the fuck out of shit, you know, and he's awesome. But like the idea that we're gonna have like a Shang-Chi and a Captain America driven kind of like Marvel phase and all that kind of stuff is very exciting. And they announced that Ironheart is going to feature in Wakanda Forever, the next Black Panther movie. She's going to cameo. That's going to be her first appearance in the lead into her own show and all that kind of stuff. Like, so that's going to be awesome. I think there's some exciting stuff. I think the MCU is going to kind of like, it's going to obviously have a big impact on the Marvel universe outside of the movies and stuff. As these characters gain more popularity and they're pushing these characters and stuff. Pretty exciting stuff though. Really exciting stuff. It's gonna be a nice change to this. It's like you know the way What If wasn't enough of a kind of change. I think the stuff that's coming from the MCU is gonna be really nice and really refreshing.
So do you think, and this is as much addressed at Brian as it is yourself, Kev, we talked about you know, what's setting up and what's coming, and how, you know, we're getting pretty close to what's supposed to be the release of a Spider-Man movie. We haven't seen a trailer yet. The suggestion is, or the rumbling is, that, you know, maybe they're going to push it until they've got clear run on cinemas and ensure their box office. Is there any chance that what they're doing in What If is going to play into it in such a way that we're going to see a trailer at the end of the run of What If?
Brian knows these things better than me. I haven't got a clue.
Like, do you think we get to the end, like last episode of What If goes up and the Spider-Man trailer goes up at the same day?
Possibly. Like, I think the trailer thing has more to do with them not being certain of a release date, and less to do with it depending on anything. I think What If is going to lead into it in some way. It's going to maybe set up some elements of the storyline there, but I don't think it's as dependent on the series. I think the trailer thing is more to do with release date and box office, I think. Yeah,
we're still kind of talking about it a little bit, but like, because we did talk about this last week a touch, I guess you have to remember that Spider-Man movie is a Sony movie, and Disney can push on with Eternals and Shang-Chi and Black Widow and their shows, because they know, worst comes to worst, they do the exclusive access streaming on Disney and they push ahead and they release. But they don't necessarily have that sway over Sony's take on Spider-Man. Sony get to say when that gets released. But I'm sure they kind of have it in their head that, like, we're doing stuff that connects here. Please line up with us, you know? I don't think it'll be the end of the world if they don't, but I think they'd want them to. Any chance Disney put it up? Far From Home on Disney Plus?
I don't know if it is yet, but they recently signed a deal to get those movies back, but I don't even think it's a case of them not having a platform to host it. I think it's more that the studios were only willing to do that when they absolutely had to. Like there's no plan to have Shang-Chi on Disney Plus. They want that in the cinema. So basically from September onwards they're kind of committing to the
theatrical releases,
the box office theatrical things. So yeah, I don't think they even want to do that.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to go to a cinema. I say that as if I don't want to, but it's just a little bit of a logistical thing on my end to find 2 hours. But I'm looking forward to it.
Is it out on the 3rd or the 7th? For some reason I had the 7th in my head, but I keep saying the 3rd.
Yeah, I thought the 3rd.
Okay, maybe it's the 3rd.
I know you guys didn't watch this trailer for this, but I just watched the trailer for a movie called Best Sellers. This is looks like it's just a sort of like gentle comedy thing in the sort of vein of, My Favorite Year or Get Him to the Greek, where a young executive type is put in charge of ensuring a older celebrity of some variety goes on a book tour. So in this instance, it's Aubrey Plaza is trying to boost sales of their books, and it's a small publishing company or even a large publishing company. It's hard to tell from the trailer. And they dig out Michael Caine's old, drunken, cantankerous bastard self, who apparently owes them a book for 30 years, and he gets them to write it, and they go on a tour. And it looks like a nice sort of gentle comedy in the vein of, like, you remember The Duke that I talked about a few weeks back with I think Ellen Mirren and Jim Broadbent, where they steal a painting. I like that sort of thing. I'm looking forward to that. So that looks like it's got a release September 17th as well. Aubrey Plaza is somebody who will bring me to a film. She's usually very funny. Even in like Dirty Grandpa with Robert De Niro. Is it Dirty Grandpa?
Yeah.
Or Bad Grandpa?
One of them. Bad Grandpa.
Which is the one with Johnny Knoxville. Come on, Brian, you know.
Bad, I think it was Bad.
Bad Grandpa, okay.
Can't remember. I mixed them up too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Both good films.
But, yeah. I like seeing Michael Caine in things as well.
She was just 16 years old. Brian does a better one. Better impression of someone doing an impression of Michael Caine.
That was your impression of Brian doing an impression of Michael Caine.
No, that was my impression of who does it, Brian?
Was it Coogan's one? Or...
Yes. Well, one of them. Yeah.
Coogan or Bryden, basically. I did not like Get Him to the Greek.
I think Get Him to the Greek is very, very
off.
flawed, but I enjoy large chunks of it.
That's the Jonah Hill one, is it?
Yeah.
Also
I kind of remember that. Yeah, I do remember. It wasn't as good as Forget Sarah Marshall. I like that movie.
I don't like that movie.
I like that one.
I don't.
There's a lot of stuff in Get Him to the Greek to do with his girlfriend that was just weird.
Was
with
that
Rose
was
Byrne.
Yeah, but like I like her. She's a brilliant
Rose
actor.
Byrne?
Yes,
I thought it was Elizabeth Moss was his girlfriend.
Oh no, Jonah Hill's girlfriend is Elizabeth Moss. Yeah, Rose
Yeah.
Byrne is Russell Brand's girlfriend.
Oh yeah.
Rose
other
Byrne
pop star.
from the X-Men.
Sure,
Yes.
Yeah, she's Maria Taggart in the X-Men, isn't she?
Moira.
Moira
Yeah.
Taggart, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, she's an amazing actor, and normally when
She's
I see
great,
her, if she's in something, it's just like, yeah, it's gonna be good. I don't remember. Why?
I don't think that's true, but I like
Why?
her in things. Because I think if I went through her IMDb now, I'd find a bunch of garbage. But I also think
I love Bad Neighbors.
she makes good things.
So good with Seth Rogen. She's brilliant. I like her anyways. I think she's good. I think she's brilliant in a lot of things.
Yeah, I do too.
More good than bad for sure. But I don't remember Jonah Hill's girlfriend in it or how that was problematic. But yeah.
He just did a lot of shitty things, but they, kind of blamed it on the girlfriend. It's like he's allowed to do that because his girlfriend sucks. It's like,
Well, they broke up. They broke up.
Okay. I don't remember it all. Anyways, I did. Did I watch any other trailers this week?
also the songs were garbage. They didn't bother to write any good songs. You can't make a film about it. Like write a fucking few songs. There's plenty of films
that did
have
annoy
good
me as well,
songs.
because even from a position of like, look, I'll bow to your taste in music, but like I was listening to it going, okay, tune's fine, and then they just wrote shitty lyrics, and I'm like, if you just wrote something a little more
Awful.
passable,
Awful.
you know, they got lost in the joke of the character and didn't write. You know, just he's supposed to be a rock star. Write them a little more just straight line. You know.
Write some good songs.
Yeah. I don't know. Sorry, Kevin, we cut across you. You were saying, did you watch any other trailers?
No, I'm trying to think. Did I watch any of the trailers this week? You sent something else to the group chat. Ada, did you?
I did. I sent something this morning, which was there's a new He-Man cartoon,
My
and I think we should watch a new He-Man and the Masters of the Universe cartoon.
My brother said this to me ages ago, that they were releasing 2 He-Man cartoons. One was more for the kind of the original fan base, and one being more for kids.
Yeah, I didn't realize this, and watching this trailer, I'm going, fucking hell! Like, what are people complaining about in this other one? When there's immediately another He-Man cartoon coming, and this He-Man cartoon is like, well, this is definitely He-Man as a hero with the supporting team. Like, what the fuck are you moaning about? It looks fun. It's really goofy, cartoony, big caricature character. You know, he's.
Right, so I've seen.
It's kind of like a CG. I was going to say like Thundercats Go. Was that the name of that show? Like, it looks like it's got a lot of broad humor to it. Big chunky 3D characters. I think it looks good.
Awesome.
It's nice to look at anyway. If a bit much, but still fun. Smacks of Europe, if you ask me.
Ugh, gross. The continent.
Yeah,
Vile place.
awful place. What I have been doing for the last 2 weeks, and it has affected my consumption of actual new good content, but I went to my library of DVDs and took off the shelf my complete set of News Radio and Spin City and began watching some throwback 90s sitcoms.
What's News Radio?
News Radio is a sitcom that ran from, I think, 94 to 90, well, maybe 2000. It had a sort of 5-6 year run.
I'll see if I recognize it, and if I don't recognize it, just start.
So it had Dave Foley from, I think, Kids in the Hall was the Canadian comedy group that he came out of. Steve Root is the guy who owned the station manager. Phil Hartman as the on-radio guy.
Yay. Yay.
Yeah, you like Steve Hartman or Phil Hartman?
Phil Hartman. Yeah. That guy was hilarious.
Candy Alexander is one of the other radio hosts. Maura Tierney.
Unless we not forget my personal favorite, my idol, my guru.
Oh, yes, okay. So Brian's favorite guy in podcasting, and somebody who he subscribes to a lot to for sort of, you know, guidance on how to be Joe Rogan.
Just follow him.
Joe Rogan.
You know, advice, just direction, guidance.
He's a very balanced individual, though. You know, he gives each side a chance to get their points across. But I was watching News Radio because I realized that, like, I think I watched it when it was on Paramount Comedy Channel. Steve Root, Phil Hartman, Dave Foley. There were enough people in it that I went, you know what? I haven't actually watched this show much. I watched it a bit when it was on Comedy Central, Paramount Comedy Channel as it was back then. But I didn't have any real strong memories of it, so I just went and threw it on, and it's fun. Very, very, like, dated now, of course, but that brought me to going, do you know what I haven't seen in fucking ever is Spin City. Did you guys watch Spin City at all?
Yeah, I really liked it.
I really liked that show when it was on. Like, Barry Bostwick was the mayor, Michael J. Fox the deputy mayor, and then a whole bunch of people under whom I can never remember any of them beyond Richard Kind and Alan Ruck.
Connie Britton.
Probably a little bit highbrow for me at that age. Well, what age were you when you were watching
10?
it? I was like, what, 6?
Okay, it's fair.
Is that fair?
I suppose you weren't quite getting the sort of post Sorkin's American President vibe that the show was bringing, and a little bit pre-West Wing energy with the walk and talks around the set.
Yeah, no. No, no. As far as I knew, I was like, what
Well,
happened to Marty McFly?
he was in that Aaron Sorkin movie, The American President, and that rolled into this sitcom. Now, I don't know if one led to the other, but like, it was interesting following that kind of Sorkin chain, because West Wing didn't come out until I think 2-3 years later, after Spin City. But it's, there are loads of sitcoms that you don't see on television anymore, and that's just, you know, I guess reality. And I guess I was slightly skewed by the idea that like Friends is still on the goddamn television. You know, it's still on, and it's that era. It's earlier than that. It's 94 or something. It started 93. And I was looking at this going, what is it about this show that isn't, I haven't seen it on reruns in anywhere near the same amount. And the pilot of it basically answered my question, where Barry Bostwick's mayor is at a press conference and is, you know, they're worried that he's going to answer a question about the unions wrong, and he gets through it very well, and he gives the sort of the soundbite answer, and then somebody says, "Will you be marching in this year's Pride Parade?" And he responds, "What are you, drunk?" And the rest of the episode is then about, right, we need to have a gay staff member in order to play off this seemingly homophobic response that has been given to this show. So it doesn't become the whole show, but there is this dynamic between the character Carter, who they hire because he is gay, and Stuart, who is the other sort of deputy mayor's assistant kind of thing. It's interesting watching it back, and like, I don't know, maybe I guess I have to arrive at some sort of point to allow you guys to engage, because I start to feel like I'm just talking at faces here. But like, it's interesting watching it back going, the intent of this show was to bring to television more gay characters that weren't caricatures, and bring to light gay issues. And I don't know that was the intent of the whole show, but I got 5 episodes in, and there were 3 episodes that dealt with gay marriage, needle exchanges in order to prevent the spread of AIDS through Manhattan, and, you know, representation of the staff of the mayor of New York to better advocate for gay rights in New York City. And I was like, wow, that's a lot of advocacy for the first sort of half dozen episodes of a brand new sitcom, you know? And they present this character as somebody who is not a caricature of what a gay person is, you know? But there is then this dynamic of this Stuart character who's homophobic, who's just making, like, you know, he wakes up in a room with him after a night out and assumes something has happened, you know? So, I don't know. Am I overthinking it? Is this the level of content that would keep them from showing it in reruns?
Like, I think the pairing with Stuart was very deliberate.
Yeah.
It was kind of smart as well, because you've got an overtly sexist, homophobic character who is actually good friends with I guess like a token gay character, you know. But I think it was a very deliberate way to cast a more positive depiction of a gay character, because you had him beside this, you know, like Stuart's ultimately, if I remember kind of correctly, like he's ultimately kind of harmless and ultimately well-intentioned, but just kind of vile on the surface. And you've got him partnered with this clever, sensible, thoughtful gay character.
Yeah,
and it's like you
exhausted
could
with his bullshit as well.
Yeah, and you couldn't possibly, you know, you just place him beside Stuart, and it's automatically a more positive depiction of a character, and it's not a caricature where they're kind of effete or effeminate or anything. He's actually,
and that is so much of the representation in sitcoms. It's, like, even when we think back as well to, like, even, I mean, going way back to like English stuff where it's just like Mr. Humphreys and Are You Being Served? Like, it's real.
Yeah, it's not a shrieking man, you know, acting like kind of a Not any of these kind of negative kind of stereotypes, and anybody who would have had, it's kind of representation at the end of the day. A lot of people they maybe don't realize that they're actually having interactions with kind of gay people in their day-to-day life, and then the only time they ever actually see it is on TV when it's this ridiculous caricature, and then it's kind of anybody who's kind of less exposed to that in their daily life, suddenly if they're kind of seeing representation on TV where he's beside this character who the show almost just challenges you to kind of like anything Stewart does. It's like, how could you possibly, if you associate with Stewart, you need to take a look at yourself. Essentially, somebody would have to be really lacking in self-awareness to not kind of identify with Stewart and kind of say, do I need to check my behavior or something? And then you place him beside Carter, and that, like, just the fact that they're able to have a friendship and interact, and that Carter is like, just always looks better by comparison. I think that was a very deliberate thing to kind of, give him more. I mean, I'm sure you could probably still criticize aspects of Carter's, characterization and stuff, but I think it was very deliberate to say, no, we actually need to start doing this in a more positive light.
Yeah, it's just, I guess I thought back on it as a very sort of harmless piece of candy floss television, and I was very surprised to look back at it, the first 6 episodes, and go, oh wow, they really are doing something here, or trying to do something. And I guess I was wondering, is it a case of the representation is just, the representation and the way they go about it is just rudimentary enough, or just like, it's best intentioned, but it's best left off television now, like, it was a good step forward, but it's a clunky piece of something to bring forward? Or am I just overthinking the hell out of this altogether, and it's just a little bit dated and they can make more money selling other shows into syndication?
I think it's probably less dated than Friends in a lot of ways.
Yep.
You could probably count on one hand how many gay or characters of color appeared in 10 seasons of Friends. There's probably 3. I can only think of 2 off the top of my head there. I think Joey's dance instructor at an audition or something was possibly black. I'm not sure. And I think Gabrielle Union was in it. And those are the only 2 black people off the top of my head I can think of.
Is that the actor that they introduced literally to diversify the cast? Because they did that at one stage. Ross's partner.
So
that was towards the end of the season.
So I
series
think
as
well. I think multi-camera sitcoms are just dated anyway. And I think Spin City is probably holds up better than Friends, I would imagine. My guess.
Yeah, I just thought it was kind of funny that, like, it's very hard to find the damn thing, and it's not shown anywhere. And like in the first few episodes, again, I guess it's just the pedigree of where it was coming from meant that it got this boost. But
I think that's more to do with content and licensing, though. Like Paramount are launching their own streaming platform now, so it'll be on that thing. Basically.
I was going to say, though, it could also be a case of, like, realistically, we just say, like, an episode of Friends at the height of its popularity got, like, no, obviously these aren't real numbers, got 10,000 views. Spin City got, like, 2,000 views. These shows are over 10 years old now. When you put them on there, they're going to get significantly less amount of views. So Spin City will get, like, a quarter of the amount of views, and Friends will get a quarter amount of views, but Friends numbers will be higher.
I was watching Spin City going, like, maybe I'm wrong, maybe it's already been done, but I'm just going, is there a 20-minute podcast and watching episodes of Spin City and talking about it? Anyway.
Almost definitely.
There's
probably
not, but you can...
there must be there's one for everything, really, at this point, but be curious to see. Okay, I suppose we should move it on. Are there any sitcoms you can think back on that you, like, watched growing up, or miss, or not miss, but I don't know, or were you sitcom people at all?
Oh yeah, I loved Just Shoot Me. I loved
yeah, I remember Just Shoot Me.
I love Just Shoot Me. I loved the one with Helen Hunt.
Mad About You?
Mad
You don't
About
see that
You.
at all.
Nope. There was another one I quite liked that I can't remember. Well, I loved. We talked about it before. When I was a kid, I loved the one about the female cartoonist,
Caroline in the City?
Caroline in the City.
I
Yeah.
just loved sitcoms.
Um,
As we're naming these, I'm like, I want to go
would've-
and buy the DVD collection of Mad About You.
I think
yeah, I would see. I would have watched lots of sitcoms.
I think the reason you don't see them is just
They just
They're-
make more of them.
they're too old.
Yeah, or like you probably just go watch something new.
Spin
Ultimately,
City ended in 2002. That was 6 seasons.
That's 20
That was
years ago.
19 years ago. Yeah, they're just. It'd be like watching.
I was 14.
remember watching Taxi on like a Saturday night at 1 a.m. on Network 2. Watching Spin City now would be like watching Taxi in the 90s. The reason you don't see them on TV is because when would you put them on? There's too much new stuff anyway. Like
It's
you'd have to be very
decades
stuck
old.
for content to put on.
I'm surprised RT don't show it.
Not only is it 2 decades old, but that style of comedy has just not relevant anymore.
Who are the clips I sent you? I sent you as I was watching it. It was like Jennifer Garner's in an episode, George Wendt,
Colbert.
Woody Harrelson, Stephen Colbert pops up. But these are all in like early in the first series. I was just like, holy shit, there's a lot of people in this. Christopher Lloyd appears at one point. I haven't got to that. I just remember the episode. Though,
Sorry, I said 6 seasons earlier. They only did 4.
did they only do
Remember.
4 with Michael J. Fox, 2 with Charlie Sheen?
Shh.
Oh.
They did 4 seasons.
And Heather Locklear showed up. I don't know if I'm going to have to discount that whole back 2 seasons in the way that Brian has clearly blocked out the trauma.
Yeah, I would. Charlie Sheen, nah.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah, mad about
Piece of shit.
Mad. What was that one he had? Men or something.
2.5
Men or something. God, you know what? That's the type of sitcom though I never liked. Too fake, too staged, rubbish. I've never liked that kind of sitcom. It's like cheap, you know.
It's awful. Truly awful.
And I like really bad shows.
Did the same guy who did that do Everyone Loves Raymond though?
I don't think so.
Chuck
I don't
Lorre or
think so.
something?
Is that Chuck Lorre?
No, I don't think so. I don't think that was Everybody Loves Raymond.
Everybody
Let's find out.
loves Ray. Even though I do like King of Queens, that's great.
I think I like King of Queens for Patton Oswalt and Jerry Stiller.
Chuck Lorre. We all know this one.
Huh?
What's the most interesting fact about Chuck Lorre? Come on.
He wrote the Ninja Turtle theme tune?
Yes.
Yeah.
Chuck Lorre did Sybil, Dharma and Greg, Grace Under Fire.
I watched all of those.
Yeah.
Suddenly Susan? Did anybody watch
But
Suddenly Susan?
he did not do Everyone Loves Raymond.
Hmm.
I did watch Suddenly Susan, and I can't remember what it was about at all.
Neither can I.
Other than
I like-
Was
other
it
than Brooke
also
Shields.
in a
What was it
magazine?
about? I think it was a magazine too, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, because I think it just sort of had similar Just Shoot Me vibes. I always liked the one in Just
Who was
Shoot
the
Me.
Joe Rogan in Suddenly Susan?
I don't know.
There was definitely a Joe Rogan
Type.
type. Yeah.
Did you ever watch? There was Wings as well. Took place in a small airport.
Wings.
I liked Wings.
Wings was much older, no?
Maybe.
I liked Wings.
I liked Wings.
I liked. There was one I had there that I liked. According to Jim.
No.
Sorry.
No, you didn't like it.
Look,
No, I
it's
did not like
I
it.
don't
Liked
think
it.
it's any.
I also liked Eights of a Ruse with
I
my teenage
oddly
daughters.
liked
But
that one, and I don't
Did you?
understand it. Yeah, James.
I had a lot of heart.
Are you in Quaco denial?
You know what? I didn't like her, but no, I didn't like her before Harley Quinn. She's great as Harley Quinn.
Right. I think she is concertedly trying to distance herself from a lifetime of sitcom work. And
But it's a terrible show. It's a bad show.
Which show?
Which one?
Big Bang Theory.
Oh yeah, I never really
It's
watched
truly
it.
awful.
It's fine.
I loved My Wife and Kids. That was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Donald
Wayne's-
Logue. And what's his brother's?
Wait,
The
Donald
actor who
Logue?
plays the brother.
In Eight Simple Rules or in...
My Wife and Kids.
Who? Wait, okay.
That was
what's
Donald
My Wife
Logue,
and
wasn't it?
Kids? I thought that was Damon Wayans.
Yeah, the Wayne
Oh,
brothers.
Wayne's brother. What's the one with Donald Logue? What was that called? My Wife and Kids was good. I like that. But what was the one with Donald Logue?
I don't...
Two Guys, a Girl in a Pizza Place was also
I
very
watched the
good.
crap out of
was
that.
good. I can't believe that's the same Ryan Reynolds. When you think about it, that's really weird.
But also, he hasn't changed. It's still the
He
same
hasn't, that's
shit.
what I mean. He hasn't changed.
It's literally the
He's
same
so
Ryan
perfect.
Reynolds.
He did
He's perfect.
he did that, and it was obviously popular enough to run for a few seasons.
Mhm.
And then he tried for a long time to kind of break into movies, and it wasn't.
Well,
until
Van Wilder.
Deadpool.
No, he was working.
He was. I'm not saying he wasn't working, but they weren't.
Man, Just Friends, one of the best Christmas movies ever. Who was Hannibal King in Blade Trinity.
Yeah, I think he had a bunch of success. He just wasn't getting that sort of super
Nines
I wouldn't
A-list.
call those successes.
awesome.
I think they were...
If you haven't watched The Nines, watch The Nines. It's unreal. No, Ryan Reynolds,
I watched Van Wilder
most
to
successful
death.
man in Hollywood, I would say.
The Nines gave me a panic
Right.
attack.
Yeah.
Nestor Carbonell was the Joe Rogan type I was remembering from
Nestor?
Suddenly Susan. Nestor Carbonell.
Do I know him?
Yes. He played
Anyways.
Richard Alpert in Lost. He's got the wonderful
The eyebrows?
eyelashes.
Eyelashes. Yes, I know the
Looks
man.
like he's wearing eyeliner. Insists he isn't.
He's
we'll
the
take
mayor
your
in
word for it.
Dark Knight, right?
Oh!
I can't remember. I watched that film so many times and I've forgotten so much of it. He is the mayor, isn't he?
He is the mayor, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
He kind of looks evil, but he's nice.
But he can also play evil.
Yeah, we
Yes.
don't know that he's nice.
Yeah, but he
What do we think? Is he wearing eyeliner or not? What do we think?
nah, he's not. He's
They're
not.
incredible.
Yes,
Like they're
yes.
ridiculous.
Yeah, but like, yeah,
How he do that?
just has nice eyes.
Fair enough. Anyway,
Um,
Eric Idle showed up in the last season of Suddenly Susan, and I completely forgot about that.
How many seasons of Suddenly Susan should somebody see to see Suddenly Susan?
Oh Jesus Christ!
There
No one's could ever.
were
We've just alienated 90% of our
4
audience
seasons.
because nobody knows what we're talking about anymore.
Hey, she's on TikTok now, so she's relevant again. So watch it. okay?
Nestor Carbonell.
Brooke Shields. She's on TikTok now.
Oh, I was
We
thinking
can
of
talk
Grace
about
Under
this.
Fire.
She's broke now. I
Grace?
recently read, just like 2 days ago, she's super broke and she's struggling to survive. Brett Butler, I think that's her name.
Well, America is tough. Let's move on. What if?
Oh, Brett Butler. I know her from things. Oh, that's kind of sad.
Grace Under Fire.
Oh, that's really sad. No, I never watched Grace Under Fire. She was in something else I watched.
You liar. What else have you seen her in? If you've seen her in something else, she wouldn't be broke. She did Grace Under Fire and then she went broke.
Oh, she looks familiar. Brett Butler. If you recognize her for something, let us know and prove Brian wrong.
Did you watch What If this week?
Yes.
Wow.
She's in The Walking Dead.
No, that's just a zombie.
Stop. The Leftovers. She was
Did
in
you
Leftovers
watch
as well.
What If?
Was she? I don't remember that.
Yeah. Yes, I watched What If.
I want to talk about The Leftovers.
Now I haven't watched season 2 yet. It's a tough old watch. It's good, but it's a tough watch.
It's great. But we should probably talk about What If, because
I don't mind. If you want to talk about The Leftovers, I haven't seen The Leftovers.
let's watch The
No,
Leftovers
no,
and
no,
talk
no.
about that when we've seen it.
No, What if?
But in the meantime, let's talk about what if.
I'll start.
Go on. Just because we've established that if Brian tells you what he thinks, then you think it.
I'll agree with him. Yeah. Who
gave you this power?
Brian manipulated me over years. He groomed me. It's fair.
I'm very manipulative.
Yeah, almost. Yeah, it's not. To be honest, don't blame Brian. It's my fault. I'm super impressionable. Also, you have to say.
I told him to say that.
So, yeah.
Brian's got a real Crystalia vibe these days. Looking at him.
How dare you?
Did he shave the beard?
Take that back.
I don't understand that reference.
I do not like that man. Before I found out those things about him, I was not a fan.
So the guy who was cancelled from that crap movie was actually
yes.
But do you see what I'm saying? Yeah.
No, dude.
Oh, why is he showing us his groin? Brian. That's a real Dalia move.
It is. I was like, wow, he's really owning this. Brian, I did it terribly wrong for you.
These are shorts. I'm wearing shorts.
They're short shorts.
That is the defense.
What if was a little bit more of what
those
I
get
was
deleted
about.
automatically, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Have we all seen that?
Nobody is screen recording this.
Have we all seen that though?
Yeah.
Okay, but
seen what?
The moment when Dalia realizes that
it's amazing.
Someone can still find a way to save a Snapchat.
It's a live video podcast where they're talking about Snapchat, and somebody had saved their kids' Snapchats. There was a story going on.
A teacher had slept with a kid.
Yeah, and they found out about it because...
she had sent him Snapchats and stuff, and then they found the Snapchats. And he was like, but, like, how do they do that? Because those are, like, automatically deleted. And they just point out to him that, you know, there's still ways, and or you screen grab it, or somebody took a photo with the phone, a second device or something, and you can see him in real time just kind of go, fuck.
Yeah.
You just know he's sent inappropriate things to people.
Yeah, anyways, the guy gave me creepo vibes. The three actors give me creepo vibes when you see them. He was one of them. Wasn't a shock or a surprise.
Yeah, so like when you saw him, you got creep vibes from him immediately, right? So you can understand why I'm upset when you say I look like a guy that immediately gives a person creep vibes.
But you know that you give people.
Well, you just flashed us.
What?
Let's move on. What if this week's episode was what if T'Challa had become Star-Lord?
What if
I'm upset now.
I loved it.
You loved it.
Well, you're upset that T'Challa became Star-Lord. That's rude.
So what did you love about it, Kevin?
This was a little bit more of what I was talking about in terms of the what ifness of the possibility things, you know. It's like kind of just to touch on a few notes of it that I really liked. I liked the Thanos seeing the error of his ways, and then the kind of joke about genocide and how like it would be efficient. That was all quite funny, and how he kind of essentially, even though it became good, he still couldn't live it down due to kind of like, you know, just banter and stuff. I thought Nebula was very, very cool in it. The kind of that spin on her was awesome. The Collector got a big old what if in a form of a rocking body and a six pack and cool.
Yeah, things. I was looking at that going like, is there some canon around the Collector that we are supposed to get from Benicio del Toro? That like, if we had seen Benicio del Toro in a fight, is he like a shithouse, like a brick shithouse? Like,
yeah,
is he some OP character that we just never got to see fight?
He's related to the Grandmaster, isn't he? And he's supposed to be immensely powerful.
So I like.
Isn't that the story? I thought.
I also liked. I liked Kurt Russell showing up at the end. I thought that was awesome because we're saying like if there's going to be some sort of accumulation at the end of these what if episodes, and there's a result of something that could be really interesting. What kind of, because Peter Quill is there with the headphones mopping and sweeping. He's obviously probably not super content with
that
his life
one.
Or something
Felt to me more like we're not coming back to this one though.
You felt that way because I was kind of thinking.
Yeah,
I was thinking
compared
they,
to last
they had
week,
to build these two characters.
To me, last week felt like, we'll be coming back to this, but the way they ended this one kind of felt like, oh, things might go bad here. We won't know, but maybe things won't go so well, and that's the end of that.
But you see, that's where I then get sort of like, why do you think last week's is going to be any more a substantial or a follow-on effect than this week's? Like, I do feel like they could end all of these episodes.
I suppose,
because we're going to see Captain Carter again.
They can use Haley Atwell as an actor in the Captain Carter role, and that would look cool. They're not going to have an evil Star-Lord. No, but basically what I'm trying to say, though, it's an easier thing to use Captain Carter, as she's a more intriguing, cooler character.
I don't think it's even that, though, because...
Yeah, Brian's right.
But, like, the thing is, what's about to happen at the end of that episode, or what potentially could happen, we already know, because it's what almost happened in Guardians 2. So what they're saying is the crisis they averted in Guardians 2 might now happen because there's a different Star-Lord. So we actually know how that's going to
play
out.
Yeah, well, he's going to be a version of Star-Lord that can contain Ego's power without having the support structure of the Guardians to pull him back from that.
Yeah, but it's going to consume the planet, is essentially...
Yeah.
Yeah, so like we know it's going to play out. He won't even be Star-Lord anymore. It's just going to be the end of the world, and that's it. It ends there.
Oh, you think so? You think that what if story is over?
But you're discounting the idea that, like, we just saw that, like...
That's interesting.
That planet has a Wakanda, it has a Star-Lord in T'Challa, it has Thanos, it has Ravagers. Like, why wouldn't the heroes of that world unite to stop the Celestial taking over the Celestial or Eternal Celestial taking over the... I'm getting confused between the sort of various giant metaphysical Marvel creatures. The Eternals are who we're seeing in the movie coming on.
Let's get into that another time, because there's a lot.
But
there.
nowhere is the head of what? A Celestial?
Celestial.
But the Searcher that we saw in the Eternals is a Celestial?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The Celestials...
Ego is a Celestial?
Yeah. The Celestials created the Eternals and the Deviants.
Hmm.
That's pretty much it.
Okay. So you think we're not coming back to Pratt and Russell?
I'm not saying we definitely won't, but that ending to me felt more like the cliffhanger Twilight Zone type ending.
Okay, fair.
That's what it felt like to me, whereas last week felt like a setup for... We also know Captain Carter is going to appear in more episodes this season.
We do know that. What are we basing that on?
We do. I think we...
I don't watch trailers for these things.
Just even in interviews and stuff, I think she appears in... I think even... Actually, T'Challa or Boseman did actually record more dialogue as well. So maybe we will be coming back. But I don't know if it's necessarily going to deal with that.
Because potentially, we're assuming these are all different universes, but potentially T'Challa exists in a universe where Captain Carter is leading an Avengers team and Chris Pratt's Ego thing is going to happen. I'm going to build towards that as a threat on Earth. I don't know. We lots to see. Lots to see. Did you like the Howard the Duck cameo?
Yes. Although, why does he get martinis and no one else does? People are just like sitting and sad and stuff. Why does he get a couch and a martini?
That is true.
Because he'll die otherwise.
Do you know a thing I saw that was...
alcohol dependency.
Oh, does he?
I'm guessing.
Okay, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. I heard that my brother Benny said that I think it's writers were discussing the different like cameo voice roles, acting or whatever, and he said that Batista was approached to voice Drax in this episode, but basically they didn't hear back from him. They don't responded in time.
That's what I heard as well, yeah. That there was a bit of a miscommunication and it makes sense because they got a lot of people back for stuff, so it wouldn't make sense for them to not want him back, yeah. So
yeah. But that's the thing though, like kind of there's not as much drama and politics in this stuff as people kind of think there are, to a degree. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, as in, like, kind of people have schedules. It's so hard to do these things that they're producing and making things align in time wise and all that kind of stuff. So like, kind of like, he's obviously in Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Yeah.
Is there like some animosity? Like, do people like, does he
No,
resent
I
Marvel
think
or Disney?
I think he's just kind of vocal about things rather than smoothing things over and kind of pretending like things aren't taking place. So when Gunn was under fire, he was quite quick to jump in and support him. When people asked why he wasn't in Suicide Squad, he was quick to say that he got paid more to do Army of the Dead than what Warner Brothers were willing to pay him to do Suicide Squad. So I think it's just more that he doesn't. We're so used to people just like giving a very diplomatic answer. Diplomatic response. He just kind of says what it is, which
fair.
Doesn't necessarily indicate animosity, because I think we've kind of said that before, as well as that. As cutthroat as it is, and it is cutthroat at the same time, if they need or want you, then anything that's happened in the past is kind of also quickly forgiven the second they want you. Yeah. So it can be brutal, and it can be, probably fucking the meanest place to work. But also when they need you or want you, then it's so superficial. It's so superficial that they have no problem pretending that nothing happened. And let's.
Yeah, I understand that. Business is business in that sense. What did you think of What If?
I liked it.
I think this time, I thought Yondu looked very cool, but I like the design of T'Challa. The kind of the variant of his Star-Lord, his type of Star-Lord. But I felt like kind of this style of animation better suited the previous episode than this episode.
Yeah, there's places as well where it looked a bit stiffer because
the lighting or something.
Yeah, just the nature of stuff. It looked a little less smooth, a little stiffer. The action was a bit felt kind of choppier.
I did like though, kind of, and maybe I'm completely wrong in saying this because it's kind of more of an after the fact thing. It felt really, really, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but like they really kind of pandered to Chadwick, and I really felt like they were making him the best hero ever. That kind of way. Like I got the impression that like he was the ultimate, like he was saving galaxies and worlds and planets, and he was really charismatic. Everybody liked him. He's a good dude,
I think that was the point of the story, is that he's this, he's got that charisma and influence, and that's I think that was the point, is that's who T'Challa is. That no matter where you put him, the guy is he's a king. He's or he's what a king should be,
Yes, yeah. Very nice, though. Very good.
Yeah, it's sad. It's kind of strange to think that he recorded that stuff 3 years ago, I think.
Really?
I think it was, yeah. So
yeah,
or at least when it would have started, that would when he probably recorded that stuff initially would have been maybe 3 years ago. It's nice to have something new from him after, but it's bittersweet,
Oh yeah. It is very sad, and to be fair, that's always going to be a little tragic thing on the MCU. What could have been. I'm happy we got to see as much from those as we did.
Yeah, we kind of got more than one movie, at least. So, and
has he shot stuff for Black Panther 2?
No, don't think so.
I wonder what they're going to do with that. How they're going to, they're like, do you think they're going to recast? Not recast, but do you think they're going to have a new Black Panther?
Yeah.
Do you think they're going to be? Do you think do you think they know who's going to be?
It's hard to say. I wouldn't have been surprised if it was going to be Shuri, because she takes up the mantle in the comics, but the actor kind of put their foot in it couple of months back, and I
Yeah.
wondered that maybe we haven't heard much from her since as well. So I wonder, is that because they told
Yeah.
her, "Hey, look, we're lining you up to take up the mantle here, so keep your head low."
Cop on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Stop being such a fucking mouthy idiot. I'm not sure if I can say that, but she just said some stupid stuff. Yeah, though, yeah, good episode. I don't know what the next episode is going to be about. Don't spoil it on me. Do you know what it's going to be about?
No, I know what episode 4 is, but I don't know what the next one is. No.
That's pretty exciting. I'm looking forward to that.
I did not think it was Benicio del Toro.
What's that Benicio del Toro?
Apparently it was. Now,
Look, I'm watching it half the time going like, is that the original voice actor? And I keep on meaning to Google, but fucking hell.
I mean, I think we mentioned it last week or the week before that it's not uncommon for them to hire sound alikes and stuff. So they might, like, even if you see a person's name in the credits, that might just mean that they came in and did 1 or 2 lines, and then somebody else came in and essentially did an impression for the rest of the dialogue. But he's credited as being in the episode, so he did something in the episode, yeah. But it did not sound very different take on the character compared to what we saw him do live action.
100%. Yeah, but I suppose though, like, live action, it's a physical thing, and then if he's just doing the voice acting, he can kind of ramp it up, and the character was different, to be fair. Different character.
Mm-hmm.
Collector's a fascinating character though, but I liked how it ended. I liked the poor pink slave he has, a servant, getting her own back on him, and then like opening up it all for everybody just to kind of surround him and stuff. Very, very cool. T'Challa getting back with his father, very nice. Yeah, and actually, to be honest, I thought that stuff looked great. Those characters look great.
Mm-hmm.
More over some of the stuff that was like happening on the spaceship or where the collector stuff was. Did the guy come back who did the voice of the guy who always says he's his best friend and stuff like that, like who was fighting around at the start? He's an actor. He's in Blood Diamond and things like that.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
that was him.
as well.
He's brilliant. What's his name? I know it begins with
Demon, I think.
Demon. Okay, Demon. Yeah, fair play to him for coming back with that.
Hunsu,
Like,
I think. I don't know if I'm pronouncing
They
that right, but
need to give him a Marvel role. That guy is a phenomenal actor.
but they did.
No, but like I
know,
they
yeah,
did,
I know.
but like,
And this thing, we saw him again in Captain Marvel. Remember? So he's been in it twice now, playing the same character.
oh yes, he was in Captain Marvel. Yeah,
But yeah, he's fucking. He's an incredible looking person. Like he's just.
Yeah, I know. He's very beautiful.
Yeah,
or
he's just
handsome
like he's got such fantastic presence, and he's been wasted in the MCU. He should have kind of a significant. Like I think he would have been a great Black Panther as well had he not been cast as.
Oh, phenomenal! Phenomenal. He would have been ideal.
Mm-hmm.
Be interesting to see how they go with the Black Panther and who's next and stuff. I do hope they do it justice, though. Like what Chadwick did and what that movie did is not to be sniffed at. And they need to do it right. And I trust that they will. I do trust that they will. I really do.
I think they've really deferred to Ryan Coogler on what to do next.
Who's he?
The director of the first film.
Okay,
So
okay,
I think
sorry.
they really trusted him with how to proceed and how to kind of depict the character on screen. And yeah, from the sounds of it, it sounds like they're really letting him guide it and decide how to proceed. So I think it's in safe hands there. Coogler's.
Well, to be fair, he probably did the controversial opinion, but he probably directed the best Rocky movie.
Yeah.
Creed's unreal. Creed is a very good movie. I like it.
I liked it. He's a great director, and I've watched him kind of talk about various things, since he kind of first came on the scene. He's He's a very smart guy. He's very interesting to listen to talk. So yeah, I'm glad that they, by the looks of it, have deferred to him. And I think whatever they do, I'd be shocked if what happens next with the film. I'd be shocked if it was bad, if it kind of upset a lot of people. I mean, obviously you can't please everybody, but I'd be very surprised if what happened next wasn't very appropriate and honored not just Boseman, but just...
Who would you like to see as Black Panther? Is there a character in the MCU already that you think would be great? Because I thought the leader of the... I can never say it right. The more... his guards...
The Dora Milaje, yeah.
Yeah, I think she would be awesome. Why isn't she Black Panther?
Yeah.
So is it to do a bloodline?
I don't know. To be honest, I don't really want to see anybody yet. Not that I'd have a problem if they do kind of pass it to someone, but I don't need to see that resolved soon.
Just yet.
Because I think I think the most important thing about those films anyway is the representation, and not just of one character, but I think that's a good move as well. The fact that it's called Wakanda Forever, that it's
about a collective of it's about what it embodies. Yeah. But do you think we'll ever see Michael Jai White in the MCU?
I wouldn't be surprised if we do. I don't think he'll ever be...
He's a little bit, yes,
anybody
kind of...
major.
Was he pushing to be somebody at one point?
Just more because he's kind of...
He's older now, I guess, right?
Yeah, like it's like, not even that. I think it's just... Yeah.
I'd love to see, because I know he kind of did Spawn and stuff back in the day and things. And but I'd like to see him kind of land a huge role. He's another actor he's worked hard. You know, be nice to see him get some of that superhero fame, I should say.
Yeah, I wonder who he could kind of play at this point. Not that there's nobody, like I think he could play anybody. I'm not saying anything to do with age or anything like that. I'm just kind of wondering who exists that he'd be a good fit for. And I'm talking more in a kind of a casting and stuff like that, because he's a big guy. So
I know, yeah, Blade, but they already have Blade.
Yeah, and he's the sort of same vintage as Snipes, really, isn't he?
Yeah, like a bit young. I think he's younger, but he's like he's a big guy, so that does kind of limit.
How big is he?
I'm talking more like in terms of his musculature and stuff. Yeah. I think he's.
Yes, I know he's a buff dude. Yeah. Bishop could be a cool Bishop from the future.
Yeah,
that's a good shit.
You know, we're not going to have the X-Men up, like really in this universe. But like he'd actually make an awesome Bishop, because Bishop is a big buff guy as well.
Yeah, he'd be a good Bishop.
You know how people in war-torn post-apocalyptic futures with low resources suddenly become bodybuilders? You know how that works, right?
Yes. Yeah. What else are you going to do but lift shit out of the way all day?
Make sure you consume a surplus of calories.
Yes.
He buys his groceries from the past. That's
that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
It's like Goodnight Sweetheart.
Another great sitcom.
TV show.
They did a little revival episode of that show. I think it was probably like a soft pilot, and it didn't get picked up and go anywhere, but I would have liked it. The time door reopens, and he comes from the 1950s to 2020, and the world has changed drastically, so now he's an alien in the 2020s in the same way that he was an alien in the 1940s the first time.
I liked that when it was called Captain America.
Ow, Brian. God, sass much?
Meow.
Oh, I really want to watch Black Panther now, and it's the next movie we're going to watch when we're still in the recap of the MCU, and we're going to watch Black Panther next, and it's now after watching What If I really want to watch it.
Okay.
I'm reading Hero Reborn at the moment. It's a Marvel run. I just said I'd give it a shot because it's an easy kind of just book to get into, and it's a brand new one. Blade wakes up in a world where Captain America was never found or unfrozen or whatever. The Avengers never came to be, and instead it's a Squadron Supreme. Blade's the only person who remembers the world the way it was. Nobody else does. So the superheroes, like, everything has taken a real change, and the world is completely different.
Is that brand new? Is it?
Coulson is the president of America. Yeah, it's brand new. The Squadron Supreme features Hyperion, I think it is, who's like the Superman guy. Oh God, why am I Captain Spectrum? Is it, or do you know the guy who's all like spacey, colored, focused? But Blade ends up, I think, trying to find who's it? Jeez, I just read it and I can't even remember. Doom attacks the White House and has the same gemstone that turns Juggernaut into Juggernaut. So you see like a Jugger Doom, which is cool.
I thought that was the name of the TV show.
No, that's Bigadoon.
Oh, okay.
Bigadoon. But yeah, so it's kind of like, it's just funny that it's kind of just a book that came out very what if-ish. That's kind of interesting, you know.
So, moving us on then, because I had you watch it. I'm Your Woman on Prime with a bunch of people.
Did you both watch it?
I tried to.
Oh, you didn't like it, Brian?
Not that I didn't like it. I just, an hour later, I wasn't watching it. I was like, oh.
I'm Your Woman's a crime drama that's new to Amazon Prime. Probably a month ago, I think it came out. Rachel Brosnahan.
Came out last year.
Arinza Kanan. No, it didn't. Did it?
It's from 2020.
Go fucking away.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, you told us it was new, and it came out in 2020.
I thought
it was new.
Yeah, I was also,
I've
Brian, I
lost
was
a
thinking
year.
like, geez, like I don't normally kind of hang out with people who lie to me. So strange. I give him a second chance.
Rachel Brosnahan, Arinza Kanan. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Bill Heck, Frankie
Aiden's having a moment.
Marsha Stephanie Blake, Marceline Hugo. Is Marceline Hugo the person we were getting mixed up with? Margot Martindale, or who was the other?
No.
Okay. Did you enjoy it, Kevin?
And Dowd.
And
Margot.
Did I enjoy it?
Yeah. Yeah.
I would say yes, very much so. I thought it was really fun. Well, not really fun. I thought it was really good. I liked it.
I went back and watched the trailer after watching it because I remember thinking the trailer made this look much more action, fun, crime thrillery, a little bit of like, it looked like Brosnahan's kind of John Wick moment where she'd have to like step up and be the action person because her husband had been killed, kidnapped, or otherwise. Now, watching the trailer back, having seen the movie, I'm like, no, it doesn't actually promise that at all. But it there's definitely, if you go back and watch the trailer, there's alt-line takes for like, you know, like there's a scene where he goes, you know what your husband does? And she goes, he's a thief. He steals things. And the take in the trailer is like, he's a thief. He steals things. Like, it's much more, she's sassier and she's more with it. Like, in this movie...
I almost watched that.
In this movie, Rachel Brosnahan plays Jean, who is the wife of Eddie. Eddie is a crook who is involved in we don't really know what. We see her and her new baby sort of keeping house while Eddie plans some sort of...
And this baby is a baby Eddie just brought home to her.
Yeah.
She did not give birth to the child.
Yeah, there's kind of a mystery at the start of the movie as to where the baby even came from. But we see them planning some sort of job, and in the first sort of 10 minutes of it, the job goes wrong. We don't see the job, we just see one of his crew come back and say, we need to get you out of this house. You need to get to safety, you need to whatever. And so she's off trying to make sense of what's happening to her as she is sort of dragged hither and thither by some of Eddie's crew. She's always kind of off beat or like off balance,
Out of the loop.
and out of the loop. So when you watch the trailer and it looks like she's kind of on top of things, it's like, that's not who this character is. So it's kind of a little I don't know, missell on the trailer point. Not to say that she isn't competent and she takes control of the situation ultimately, but like she spends a lot of this movie going, I don't know what the fuck is happening. You enjoyed it, did you?
Yes, I really liked it. Yep. I thought it was great, but I didn't see any trailer or anything that you just kind of asked would I watch it or would we watch it. Yeah, I liked it. Like kind of good drama, good thriller. It's like sometimes I do like to watch things that like don't have to have like too much action in it, you know. I liked a lot of the actors. I wasn't familiar with her, and when you said, "Oh, there's a movie with this lady in it," I wasn't familiar with her. But I know the guy who played Cal and Art, who plays his father. The guy who plays Art was in a TV show I used to watch when I was younger that I absolutely loved.
What show was that?
I can't remember what the name of it exactly
Banshee?
was. Oh, he was in Banshee, yes. Yeah, Banshee, but he was in something else as well. But I want to say, I thought he was in
The Wire.
Boston Public, but maybe it wasn't The Wire. But anyways, he's a really, really good actor. Just one of those ones that you just see on a few things and you really like, you know. But I actually really liked it. I thought it was pretty cool. Yeah.
What did you see Cal in? I don't think I'd ever seen him before, and like he's got a great presence and a great charisma about him. I liked him a lot.
He's this is the first time I saw him with hair, so I know that much.
Rachel Brosnahan is, of course, the marvelous Mrs. Maisel, who is in 3 seasons, going on 4 of Amy Sherman Palladino's period comedy drama. Would you call it that?
I would.
Are you fans of Mrs. Maisel?
I haven't watched it yet.
Oh. Any reason why?
No,
Sorry.
I don't like the premise.
Still young.
Sorry, say that again, Kevin.
I'm still a young person.
No. What? No, you're not. What did you don't like what, Brian?
The premise.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't know why. I mean, I like the Gilmore Girls, but this doesn't sound like something I want to watch, even though I know I'll probably like it when I watch it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, just fair enough.
Straight away, I don't think I generally like the concept of period pieces, because those people are all dead.
Wow, that's weird.
Yeah.
So, nothing historical for you?
Preferably not, yeah.
Nothing, that's so weird. What?
Because they're dead.
Is that why you like you switched off of I'm Your Woman because this is the 70s, they're all dead now?
They're all dead now, yeah.
Brian, like, your parents were alive in the 70s. This could have been them.
Yeah, but they're still alive, and I know they're still alive.
As far as you're concerned, everyone that was in I'm Your Woman
I'm
is
watching
dead.
something in the past. Why am I not watching them in the present if they're still alive?
Because they'd probably be harder to do it in the present because of iPhones and social media and CCTV and all that kind of stuff. That's why you're going to get just more and more stuff set in the past. It's easy to write it. Period pieces,
those people are all
period
dead.
dramas. I like them. I was in Kilkenny Castle last week.
That's a place from the past.
And normally that kind of decadence and kind of affluent lifestyle and decor and stuff kind of makes me uncomfortable, and I don't like it. But walking around this old house and seeing the paintings, the sculptures, I've changed. But although I don't like how the elements of those things or how they were acquired or whatever, it's still fascinating to see it. A glimpse in that kind of past. You're seeing drawing rooms from like the late 1800s, early 1900s, and it's just fascinating stuff. I like a good period drama. I really do, yeah.
Well, I liked this movie.
I don't mind them when I start watching them. It's just from the outset,
you don't connect to yeah.
I'm less inclined when, because those people are dead.
What's the one? Pride and Prejudice. Keira Knightley. That's a good film.
Yes.
Emer had a dream that I had an affair with Keira Knightley. I don't think she was angry or upset. I think she was just more impressed. I was also begging to be back with her.
In the dream with...
Back with Emer, not Keira Knightley.
Wait, in Emer's dream, you were having an affair with Keira
Yes.
Knightley, but begging to be back with
Yes.
Emer. So Keira Knightley was keeping you in some sort of...
No, I wasn't begging. I wasn't begging Keira Knightley to let me go back to Emer. I was begging Emer to take me back after I had been
Oh, you'd had an affair.
unfaithful.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
And she was just impressed that you'd got with Keira Knightley.
No, she was upset.
Did that carry over into your waking life?
No.
Okay. Able to separate the dreamscape from the...
Yes, she's not Phoebe from Friends.
And then you took off your face in shining light. I liked this movie as much as anything because of the aesthetic of it. They were... because of the aesthetic of it, they were very much trying to like capture some of that sort of 70s sense of cinematography. I looked up the guy who's the cinematographer on it, a guy called Bryce Fortner. He did Ingrid Goes West, and Professor Marsden and the Wonder Women, and Dollface, a couple other things as well.
I know it probably won't, it won't ever happen, but like I grew up reading Frank Miller, Daredevil and stuff. I would love a Daredevil
with
movie.
this aesthetic.
I'd like if Marvel did it. But I'd like if Marvel did a little bit of that, even like kind of doing a superhero movie like
Fantastic Four.
properly in this Fantastic Four in the 50s or 60s.
But that's what they're doing.
That's what they're doing, is it? Yeah. Oh, okay. Maybe we talked about
In
that
the
before.
60s, I think.
But I'd love. Yeah, but that suits them perfectly. You know, I would love to see a 70s Daredevil movie. That would be amazing.
Yeah. I'm Your Woman. Bryce Fortner, the cinematographer.
Not to spoiler alert though. Spoiler alert about I'm Your Woman. I'm going to say something really spoilery. I liked it. The only thing I think I didn't really like was how she put together that like Eddie was married to Terry. Because I was like, how would you get that? Like I just don't understand how that was.
She made some logical leaps to figure out that Terry was the ex-wife and that Paul was Eddie's kid.
Yes.
I don't know that the movie warrants a lot of rewatching, but I kind of want to watch it again just for the aesthetic. There's a lot of telephoto zoom stuff happening, which is like real 70s-y. Made me think of things like Don't Look Now or The Long Goodbye or 70s crime show, 70s crime movies, like this cold sort of
French
rural
Connection.
aesthetic. French Connection. You know, that sort of thing
Dirty
where
Harry?
it's like where the shot is. Dirty Harry is a great example as well, where just somebody walking away in the distance on a hill and it just slowly pulls away, and it's the imperfection in the way the film is shot or the grain on it.
Yeah.
A little bit of shake as it pulls away from that person.
Love it.
There's loads of that
aesthetic.
lovely stuff in it, which
Well,
made
I
it
thought
look
it was a good
funny
movie.
when they did stuff like car chase stuff, and suddenly it got super crisp, and you're like, you've switched to a less I feel like they had old lenses or specific lenses for most of the talking stuff, and then when they had to put a camera at risk, they switched to something more contemporary and disposable. I could be wrong on that, but everything got super crisp during the car chase stuff. But I was thinking about that going, is that a failure in maintaining their aesthetic, or is that a little bit in line with the...
Yes.
It kind of is. Or is that a little bit in line with the compromises of filmmaking that even had to be made in the 70s? Like, it's in the spirit of the thing. You do what you have to do to get the shot.
Yeah.
Still a failure though, because they did what they had to do, and that's what they ended up with.
Yeah.
But they could still do what they did in the 70s. It's not like that became...
That's true.
It became easier to do, basically. So yes, they broke the visual language they established from the outset.
Good movie. I liked it.
Yeah,
It's sort of a film that I'd like us to watch.
Go on.
What is
But I
it?
don't know if we'll be able to find it anywhere. It used to be on Netflix, came out about 6 years ago, but just kind of talking about the aesthetic and the style reminded me of it. It's got a couple of very kind of 70s, again, cinematography in it in a couple of moments. But I don't know if we'll be able to find it anywhere. So
What's the movie? I
it's
didn't hear it,
called
mate.
Too Late with John Hawkes, who you will know from Deadwood or Eastbound and Down. and it's very, yeah. It's kind of, it's a bit like The Long Goodbye, kind of. It's got a detective.
Ooh, yes, I know, Brian. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's very good. Just in terms of, I've seen it, and I don't know anyone else has seen it, and I quite liked it, and I would like to talk about it with people to see what they think of it and if they like it.
Well, I've not seen it, but
That's
I
the
do.
one.
I think it was. I think it was on. I think it was on my to watch this for ages. Is it on Prime now?
According to this, it's on Prime, but I looked for it on Prime before and I couldn't find it.
Don't if you search for something on Google and it tells you it's on Prime, it's just not. You just have to search Prime. It's the worst thing ever.
It is on Prime.
Too late
Yeah.
to apologize.
All right, well then we're going to throw Too Late onto the list for next week. I think is
Nice.
Also,
fair. To...
I've watched The Secret of Kells.
All right.
I have not watched
Wolfwalkers.
Wolfwalkers.
Song of the Sea.
And I don't think I've seen Song of
Breadwinner?
the Sea.
I think Song of the Sea is on Netflix, I think. And
Maybe.
Breadwinner's on... No, sorry. Song of the Sea is on Prime, I think, and Netflix has Breadwinner. The Breadwinner, I think.
Is
But-
Breadwinner sort of topically relevant?
I think it might be.
I don't know what that's about.
It's about a girl in Afghanistan trying to work in a world run by the Taliban
Okay, well,
after her
maybe-
grandfather's disappeared. Too Late has Dyken Lockman in it,
It does.
so I'm on board. Great in Altered Carbon.
You know what? I've liked her in some things and I haven't liked her in other things, but I think she was great in Too Late. I can't remember if I liked her or not in Dollhouse.
Having watched all of I'm Your Woman, or some of all I'm Your Woman, what is a comparable crime movie from the past? I know you've just said Too Late, but let's go that era, 70s crime. French Connection, Long Goodbye. Yeah. Because it's not quite... Well, I guess there is a car chasey, crimey elements of it. 3 Days of the Condor is one as well that I think of in terms of just like a lot of pottering around safe houses and things like that.
Magnum Force and stuff, right?
Yeah, that's the sort of Clint Eastwood Dirty Harry saga.
Was Death Wish the 70s? One of them must have been in the 70s.
Yeah. I'm not sure what I'm looking for in terms of a film reference. These are all very like fucking macho men, Charles
Get
Bronson,
character.
tearing up violence. Is there a...
Get character?
Is it Point Break?
Point Blank with Lee Marvin?
Lee Marvin, Point Blank, yes.
Yeah.
That's very much in that style, I think.
There's like there's a bunch of the 70s crime dramas.
Maritime Man. Chinatown is pretty monumental in that whole 70s crime drama, right?
It was 70s, but it's set in the 30s, I think.
Oh, sorry.
Have you seen Chinatown, Kev?
No.
It's a cool film.
I always get it confused with Kurt Russell's
Big Trouble in Little China.
Big Trouble in Little China. Yeah, it's just like obviously just the names.
Very
That's
different
stupid.
films.
Yeah, but you know how it works in my head.
Oh God, Clute and The Conversation, I think, are things as well that I'm thinking of in that sort of like, this is the world that it's trying to sort of touch on, you know, that aesthetic. And it's like, I think everybody in this fucking film was prettier than like an Elliot Gould and a Donald Sutherland and Gene Hackman.
Elliot Gould is gorgeous. How dare you?
He has a distinct look, but he's not exactly pretty.
He's gorgeous. What are you talking about? He's very handsome.
For those at home, who's Elliot Gould?
He was Monica's dad in Friends.
I know who Elliot Gould is.
But he was very good looking. He was in Just Shoot Me. No, not Just Shoot Me. He was in
Suddenly Susan?
Friends.
He's
Was he
in
something
MASH. Oh, Altman. Am I just thinking of Robert Altman movies?
Was he in Clueless?
else? No.
No. He's friends. He's Ross's dad and Friends or something.
Yeah, that's what I just said. But
And
he's
he's
in
the
something
casino
else.
owner in Ocean's 11.
He's in MASH.
Yep. Did you ever see MASH?
No, I've seen MASH. I've seen MASH over the years. Like I've seen like A Few Good Men or Last of Summer Wines and stuff. Repeats on reruns and stuff.
Those are very different things.
Yeah, but Brian, they were like reruns on RTE during the summer at like fucking 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock in the day and 3 o'clock in the day. You know, that kind of stuff where it's just like there's nothing else to watch. I'm gonna watch Last of the Summer Wines. What was that other one? The one that was like the restaurant in France during World War II.
Hello.
Yeah, like all that kind of stuff. The one in the shopping centre, that was quite funny.
That Are You Being
British
Served?
kind of. Yes, yeah.
Kind of odd to hear that place described as a shopping centre.
It was like a shopping mall, wasn't it?
Well, it was an old
department store.
timey
Store, there you
department
go,
store. Yeah.
It's still a shopping centre, really.
I guess we should wrap up. We're at 2 hours 11 minutes. I think we should wrap up. But I think it can't be discounted that Kevin watched 3 episodes of a new show that had Luke Evans in it. So, Kevin, if you could just tell us a little bit about that show that you watched with Luke Evans.
Oh, it has Luke Evans.
I'm sorry, we're out of time.
Michael.